Yeah, that's actually me. But before you see me jumping out of this airplane, let me tell you a story. So, it all started over 6 months ago when I caught myself having troubles, letting things go. And then I had a thought. What could teach me to let go better than leaving everything behind me on the ground, getting on a small airplane with 15 strangers, flying over 4,000 meters above the earth, and jumping out? Sounds reasonable, right? Well, at least it did for me. But I also knew that one-time tandem jump being strapped to some guy wouldn't teach me the lesson I was looking for. I needed something more, so I did some research and decided to sign up for AFF skydiving course, a course that would teach me how to skydive on my own. And more importantly, the experience, I hoped, would teach me how to truly let things go. So I packed my stuff and headed to beautiful hot Spain, where within 10 days I was about to learn how to skydive. Day 1 was only about the theory, how the parachute works and what to do in case it doesn't. That was the day I realized what I had actually signed up for. But I also knew after flying all the way here to Spain, it was too late to turn back home. Day 2 was more theory and ground practice. That evening I went to sleep knowing that tomorrow I would jump out of an airplane for the very first time in my life. And then this happened. The very next morning, just about 30 minutes before boarding, I was told, "David, it's your turn. Time to gear up, get on the airplane and fly to 4,000 meters above the ground." This wasn't a tandem. I wasn't attached to anyone, just held by 2 instructors, one on each side. So now, it's time to take a breath, jump out, and hopefully land safely a few minutes later. I know, it sounds super easy, but believe me, or not, it wasn't. But still, I knew why I was there. I came to do the thing that scared me the most. I came to learn how to let go. So I put on the jumpsuit, strapped on the parachute and got on the airplane. It takes about 8 to 10 minutes to reach the right altitude, but those 10 minutes felt like an hour. Every stupid thought and the doubtful voice in your head asking, "Why are you even doing this?" They all hit at once. And then the door opens. The sound of the plane flying 180 km per hour with the blast of wind makes everything feel 10 times worse. In that moment, you forget everything you learned on the ground. Actually, you forget everything. Then the first people start jumping out. A few seconds later, it's my turn. Quick check in, check out, and it's time to jump. Before reaching 1700 meters, the altitude when you open your parachute, you get a solid 60 seconds of freefall. In that time, you are supposed to perform 3 practice touches for the pilot chute and stabilize your body. During those 60 seconds, you are gonna reach the speed up to 200 km per hour. It was the most chaotic 60 seconds of my life. And then you pull out the pilot chute and the parachute opens. Thank God, it did this time. And suddenly, peace. You are alone, it's quiet. You feel weightless, there is nothing but you in the sky. And in that moment, you finally let your thoughts go away. But then, the reality hits again, because there is still over 1000 meters to go before you reach the ground. Normally, on your first solo jumps, you are connected via radio to an instructor who guides you to the landing zone. But this time, the radio didn't work. Yes, you heard me right. I was left by my own over 1 kilometer above the ground. I was more focused than ever before in my life. And a few minutes later, somehow, I managed to reach the ground again. To be honest, I felt like Neil Armstrong or something. It felt so good, I even forgot for a moment this was just first out of 7 jumps I would need to complete during the entire course. And due to weather conditions, that was it for day number 3. Over the next few days, I gained more and more experience, not only on the ground, but also in the air. The second jump was still with 2 instructors, but the third one only with 1. And with each jump I got new tasks to do in the air, so it never got any easier. I practiced stabilizing my body, although it didn't always go as planned. I had to learn how to turn, how to move forward, how to stay in control. Surprisingly, those few days and 6 jumps passed by really quickly, and then there we are, the final jump, jump number 7. The one that would decide if I pass or don't pass the AFF course. Even though I had already gotten into the routine, waking up, going to a drop zone, practicing on the ground, doing jumps, I never really stopped for a moment to think about what I was actually doing and how absurd and crazy this all is. I mean, come on, let's think about it for a second. I'm a young, healthy guy who voluntarily chose to spend a lot of his money to get on a 30-year-old metal can that flies 4,000 meters above the ground, with nothing but a small backpack on his back to let go and jump into unknown. Reaching speed faster than the most cars on the highway, and then by pulling some thin lines hope to land safely back on the same ground I just left a few minutes earlier, and then repeat it over and over again, multiple times. Isn't that ridiculous? But wait a second, isn't that exactly what I wanted? I always struggled with overthinking and even more with letting things go. I was always super attached to my comfort zone and I didn't really like any changes. But the biggest struggle I ever faced was when somebody really important to me had to leave my life, and I had to learn how to live from the very beginning. And now, after all the lessons I had to learn on how to leave everything and everyone behind me on the ground, and how to fully focus on myself, I was ready for my final 7th jump. Because that's exactly what skydiving is about, right? So here we are, my last solo jump. And remember, when it feels scary to jump in, that is exactly when you jump. Otherwise, you will end up staying in the same place your entire life.